Hello my lovelies, it's Molly May here of Ponder and Ply. For those of you that haven't been here before, and those of you that have but it's been ever so long that you've forgotten, I am a knitwear designer, but more than that I'm a knitter, and most of the things I share on here are just all the wonderful things I knit by other people and then a little bit of what I dabble in myself. As you may be able to tell, I love a little bit of vintage fashion. I love dressing like a 5-year-old that's got her hand in a dressing up closet. Disney princess outfits of my dreams, and bonus points if I spin and it comes out. So it's been a while, like a really long while. Don't look too close, I have aged. It's been that long. I have evidence. I last posted in June 2023, which is bad even for me, and that video was after a very long hiatus, me announcing that I was coming back and was going to start podcasting regularly again, and I did one video and now it's been a year and a half, coming up to 2 years. So I'm not making any promises this time, but I really would like to stick around and share with you what I've been making. So let's just see how it goes. As you may imagine, life has moved on over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, and I've had a few major life changes. I said a few. I'll tell you at the end if you can keep a secret. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing that with you, but first, knitting. Okay, so what can you expect from me today? I think first of all I'm going to go through not everything that I made since I've been away, because that's a lot, but some highlights, some of my favourite things that I wear regularly or that I really enjoyed making or that I just think are really pretty and I want to share with you. So I'll give a little highlight reel of some of the things I've made. I'm not going to touch too much on whips this week because I do intend on sharing what I've been working on over January and February at the end of this month in just a couple of weeks' time. I will, however, tell you what my plans are. So I've had a lot of time away to think about my making and why I have so many pieces that I don't wear, and then why I have pieces that I wear all the time. And I realised something that I found was quite profound and revolutionary for my approaches going forwards. And since realising this, all of the makes that I've made are getting a ton more wear, like the more recent projects that I've chosen. So I'll explain that later. And then lastly, I will talk to you about some life updates. So if you want to stick around for all the gossip and what's been going on around here, then hang out to the end because I will be sharing with you some very exciting news. At least I think so anyway. Oh yes! The little announcement I wanted to share with you before you get started is that I have a testing call out for my latest pattern. It is the Bonnie Cardigan, which you can see in front of you. Oh yes, this big garter stitch mohair bow. We've got picot edging around every single edge. It's cropped. She's in fingering or heavy fingering and mohair, and in this beautiful peachy pink colour. And I would love for you to test knit for me. I know it's a bit different for what's in trend at the moment, and I'm seeing lots of oversized, beautiful Scandi style jumpers everywhere, which are amazing, but they're not me. So if, like me, you want something a little bit more girly and a little bit more cutesy and cropped and tight and basically the opposite of everything that you see on Instagram at the moment, please consider testing for me. I will pop the form in my bio. You can also find it in my bio on Instagram, or just drop me a message if you're interested or have any questions. But I will be talking about this more in my February Makes video. I just wanted to pop in and say, please, please, please come test if you were interested. Let me give you a little zhuzh. Here she is, a little cute jacket. Robert keeps calling me Dolores Umbridge in this, and I guess whilst she is awful, I would quite like some of her outfits. Dare I admit that on camera? So let's get started. What are my favourite makes from the last year and a half that I can share with you now? This is the Royale by Tasha Could Make That, and I am obsessed with this jumper. I wear it all the time. I made it in Cascade 220. I actually think the pattern's a DK, but because I'm a fairly loose knitter, I always prefer my gauge when I use the Cascade worsted weight yarn for a DK pattern. I do it almost all the time now, and it fits really well. The design is beautiful. So much thought has gone into the fit and into the collar. Let me stand up for you. So mine's nice and cropped, it's very fitted, it's got the 3/4 length sleeves and this beautiful collar that overlaps, and it's got set-in shoulders. The fit is, and I wear it all the time. It's something I made last year and I couldn't recommend more. I definitely would like to make a couple more of these. I think one in like a nudie colour or a beigey, pinky, blushy, somewhere in that way would be beautiful. Yes, and I love it. This started my obsession with cardigans, not necessarily the making of them, but definitely the finished product. This is the Delacour cardigan by Fable Knitwear, one of my favourite designers in fact. She makes some really gorgeous knitwear designs, especially if you're into vintage. All kinds of vintage too, not just 50s like me, but earlier period pieces too. I love this. The yarn is from, it's indie dyed yarn from the Travel Knitter, I think. I bought absolute years ago in this gorgeous cobalt blue, and I wear this all the time. I have a lot of blue in my wardrobe, as you may be able to see from what I'm wearing today, and I feel like it just complements everything. The only thing is, in the pictures of the pattern, it has quite a deep straight across square neckline, and mine doesn't seem to be particularly deep at all. I'm not sure whether my gauge was off or what it was, but I find it's not very straight across on me. It pulls a little bit. It doesn't stop me wearing it. In fact, I really like that about it. But I intend on making another one, at least another one, probably several more, and I might play around with the depth to get a more square neckline. The problem is that it's a bottom-up pattern, so you kind of don't know until it's too late. So I'm going to have a play around with that and see how I get on. But I absolutely love this and wear it very regularly. This is the Princess Twin Set Cardigan by Susan Crawford. I haven't made a lot of her patterns recently. I made them a lot when I first started knitting. I find my gauge is a bit loose for a lot of her patterns, so they do tend to come up a little bit big on me. She has a very traditional vintage tight gauge that I struggle to get. The yarn is, ooh, what's the name of the dye? It's another indie dyed yarn in a hot pink. Oh gosh. I'm going to have to put the name in for you. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's beautiful, and I've got quite a few skeins of different colours from them that I intend on making some more cardigans with. But I love it. It's a gorgeous design. I love the cable details. It's knit in pieces and it's knit bottom up, and I do think I made mine too long, and I think that's again down to my gauge rather than anything to do with the pattern. But I love it and I wear it very regularly. I just usually tuck it in rather than wear it just as it is, but it is nice to have that option. I also really like the fact it has pop studs, like the pop buttons, instead of regular buttons, so that you can see all the cable detail in the edging. So this one's a little pattern hack. The Betty and Judy Lodge sweater by Poison Girls is their Christmas sweater that I love and I've made before. I love the fit of this jumper so much that I decided to remove the colour work and make it into just an everyday jumper, and I've actually made a couple now and intend to make a couple more because it's just the perfect fit, perfect look for all of my dresses, and it's just a really great staple piece. So this one again I made in the Cascade 220 in this gorgeous like pinky purple colour. I also made one for my mum in blue. I don't actually have any photos of that, I'm very silly. I made it for her birthday in December, and I was in a bit of a mad rush to finish, but I didn't want to give it to her, I wanted to keep it, and we wear the same size, so it was very tempting. But she has a beautiful one in blue, which is her favourite colour. She has kind of similar style to me, we both like vintage stuff but lean slightly different ways. So yeah, great pattern. Definitely intend to make several more in different colours. I even have some yarn actually. I also have been considering making this exact pattern but into a cardigan, just adding a button band and not joining at the front. This is the Dawny sweater by Rebecca Clow, or Creabea, and it's again a bit of a pattern hack. I loved the jumper, but it had a very modern fit, and so I cropped it quite significantly and extended the ribbing also quite significantly to give it that more vintage fit. This is, again, you'll notice a theme here, in Cascade 220, and I love it. The only thing is, I don't know whether I wanted less ease or something in the arms. I find the arms to be a little bit bulky. I naturally have wider arms. I know that from even sizing charts and patterns, quite often things come up quite tight on my upper arms. So all those muscles, not really, I just have larger upper arms than average, or the average sizing chart it seems. And sometimes at certain angles I feel like my arms look a bit big. But apart from that, I really love this jumper, and it's really easy to wear, and it's just a really great classic cable jumper. This is the Sunday Morning Wrap by Esparce Tricot, and I wear it all the time. It's just perfect. I made it in Knitting for Olive, their fingering and their mohair held together. I want to say it's in the colour Powder, but I'm not sure if I made that up. It's just a very nice pinky neutral, and it seems to go with everything. I have made a 1x1 ribbed hat that I sometimes wear with it, but to be honest, I wear the wrap all the time. In the winter more as a scarf, and then the summer as a wrap, and I love it. I wear it so frequently, and I really recommend the pattern. It was very enjoyable. This style, like the long wraps, I find a lot easier to wear than shawls, so I get a lot of wear out of it. So we're going for a different vibe here. This is not so much vintage as it is hiking granola girl-esque. I have made 2 of these jumpers, one for myself and one for my partner Robert. We did a trip last January to Iceland, which was incredible. I took Robert for his birthday, and I picked up this yarn for us to both I did all the making, but for us to both have something to commemorate the trip. It's the Alexander sweater. It was for Istex, so I made it with, I think it was Let Lopi. It was one of the Lopi yarns, and we both wear ours the Town on Dog Walks. He wears his even more than mine, which I wear mine, which is very nice. He's definitely a knit-worthy individual. I'll have to pop a picture in of the next one. This was a gift knit. It's a knit that I'm sure a lot of you have seen. It's been trending quite a lot online. They are the Alma knits by Maya Ackerstrom, maybe? Again, I'll put the name in here because you know my English accent will slaughter everything beautifully poetic about other languages and names. I do a disservice to all of them, as do most of us Brits, the way we say things. But anyway, I have gifted these to a friend. So one of my New Year's resolutions was to make more of an effort with my friends and to show my appreciation for the great people I have in my life. So a very close friend of mine who lives nearby that I get on very well with has received these. And I really enjoyed making them. They knit up really quick. They weren't the brand, the Flexi Flip brand, they're like a rip-off of the Flexi Flips, and I found my tension on where you switch Flexi Flips was a bit tight. I pulled things a bit too tight, so I think I'm gonna play around with that again, or maybe just go back to Magic Loop. But other than that, really happy with these. I intend to make a pair for myself and a pair for another friend of mine, so watch this space. I expect plenty more in my future. Well, that wraps up some of my favourite knits from the last year and a half. Like I said, there are many more that I've made, but I don't think you'll stick around long enough to see them all, and I'm not sure I could find them all even if I wanted to. I actually had a very unfortunate experience where moths got into my jumper collection. I am over the worst of the emotional trauma right now. I did have a very big cry, and I have periodically been freezing all of my jumpers and bagging them. Quite a few of them need a substantial amount of repair, unfortunately. I did have a cabinet with a closed door to store my jumpers, and I had all of those moth catching things and like the cedar wood and the lavender sprays, and I wear my jumpers a lot, but that wasn't enough to save them, so they are now not so aesthetically pleasing in Ziploc bags inside the same cabinet. And yes, it means that they're a bit all over the place, so I'll save you going through all of those. But boy oh boy do I hate moths for someone that's a big animal fan across the board. They are not my friends. It's not the first time that I've had a run-in either, so yes, that was rather heartbreaking. Okay, let's talk about my plans. So I hinted at it earlier, but I did a lot of thinking and realised that I was trying to make pieces that wore too many hats. That's a very confusing analogy, but I love my hats. What I'm trying to say, without too many ums, is that I am a nature-loving, dog-walking, outside, adventurous person, but I am also really into vintage fashion and wearing outrageous, glamorous outfits for everyday life. Now these two don't cross. Not very well, and definitely not in the winter because of the mud and the mess, and it just doesn't make any sense and things get wrecked. And I have a very, very naughty puppy. She's not a puppy anymore, but she's still a naughty puppy. So she can't be trusted with my outfits, especially in the winter when it's mucky over here in the UK. In the past, what I tried to do is find patterns or merge those two so that I could wear them with my pin-up stuff and for the dog walks. It doesn't work. So every piece that I've tried to make fit that idea, just I don't wear because it's not good enough. Like, it's too fancy for a dog walk, and it's not the right shape or fit or colour even for my pin-up stuff, and so it just kind of languishes in my wardrobe. So I've made the executive decision, this very smart decision that I'm sure everyone else does and I just didn't do, that I need to make my pin-up wardrobe and my adventure hiking dog walking wardrobe, and they don't need to be the same thing, and I don't need the pieces to cross over. Since doing this, I've had so much more success. I do intend on doing a separate video going through plans, and I'll do one on the pin-up style stuff and patterns and things I have in mind, and one on the dog style stuff. I like all this hand movement today. We're very very expressive, but basically I'm focusing very heavily on cropped knits and cardigans for my vintage style stuff because that's what I need in my wardrobe, and I've got some more oversized, relaxed, thick, warm, cozy jumpers and accessories, lots of accessories for dog walks because it's been bloody freezing around here recently. The snowdrops, snow bells, those little white flowers, whatever they are, been popping up. I don't know how they're surviving because I'm bloody cold all the time. I actually have a hot water bottle tucked under my dress off camera, and I put the heater on in the room before I started recording because otherwise there was no way I was taking my coat off from getting back from the dog walk literally like 3 hours earlier. Yes. Okay, the bit you've all been waiting for. Come close. I have some secrets to tell you. So, you have guessed it. I got married. Oh, I didn't even straighten it out first. Yes, I did. I got married, but it's even more scandalous than you think. I got married in secret. Yes, I did. I'd been engaged for quite a while. There was a lot of pressure on putting a wedding together, and whilst I like being extravagant and fabulous, I actually don't love being centre of attention, and thought of having a really big wedding, and I have a very big Irish family. did not appeal to me in the slightest, and I am such a people pleaser that I knew I would have spent the whole time going around trying to look after other people and not enjoying myself. So Robert and I said, fuck it. And we eloped in secret with just a best man each. So I had my best friend, he had his best friend, and we didn't tell anyone else straight away. We got married locally, just in a registry office. Then we took our friends out for brunch and had some really beautiful photos taken over Hampstead Heath. There's a beautiful little section that I haven't been to before. I'll pop in a few photos for you. And then we headed to a hotel next to Stansted Airport, stayed the night, and the very next morning we flew to Croatia for the most wonderful honeymoon. So we rented a car, started off in Zagreb, and we drove all the way down the coast to Dubrovnik over the course of almost 2 weeks. And it was action-packed. We did cliff jumping, whitewater rafting, zip lining, canyoning, all the ings. Insert whatever adventurous thing we could find here, as well as lots of hikes through the national parks, swimming in the sea, swimming in the lakes. We had the most incredible time, and I do not regret a thing, despite some very upset family members. Yes, we are very close to our family, so they weren't expecting us to surprise them and say, by the way, we got married a couple of months ago. But that's life. That is life. And sometimes people will be disappointed with your choices, but we had the most amazing time. It was very us. It was very us. I felt like it was the best decision, and we had a wonderful time. So I am now a wife. Yes, mental. Absolutely mental, but fabulous. So that's my first bit of good news. My next bit of news is we've moved house. You can see my background is different. I'm coming to you from my office. We've moved a little bit further away from London again. We're still commuting distance. We can get a train into King's Cross, but we're out a bit more in the countryside with a bit more room, which is lovely. The dog loves it. She's doing great. She's in her basket under here right now, actually. And then the final bit of news, the big news that I've been hiding, and I'm hoping you weren't able to tell from my most recent post on Instagram, but not only are we married, but we're expecting a baby. So maybe I can show you. Oh, I'm on my tiptoes. I'm not sure how well I can show you in this. I've got a petticoat on underneath, but I have a rather large tummy. Yes, I am 23 weeks tomorrow, so we're over the halfway mark, and we're expecting a tiny human in June. We're very fortunate and very happy to be growing our family, and there might be a bit more content around best knits for pregnancy at the moment, because everything's so cropped that I've made. There's lots of room for my belly underneath, but my dresses have not been so lucky. This dress that I'm currently wearing is not zipped up at the back. In fact, 90% of my wardrobe will have to go into storage because the waists are so tiny. I can't believe I was ever I never felt tiny, but I feel tiny looking back now because my ribs don't fit into anything, and I'm only halfway, so I'm only going to balloon. But no, that's tiny in the grand scheme of things, and I've been experimenting with my outfits. Maybe there's, if you're interested, some content on the future about how to still get that vintage vibe and dress in a way that makes you happy even if you've got a growing belly. But yes, I wanted to share it with you all first. I will be announcing it on Instagram maybe later this week or next week, and it shouldn't affect my content too much. I still want to focus on knits and my vintage wear and design, etc. It just might be a little mention here or there. Yes. So, oh, I've gone all coy. I'm very happy, but I'm very shy, and I'm not, that's not true, I'm not a shy person, but I embarrass easily, very easily. I go very red. Luckily I've got lots of makeup on. I just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully you're happy here like I am. And yes, now I'm just talking for the sake of talking, so I think this is a nice place to end this week's video. I do intend to come back to you next time with a video which has already been filmed but needs some serious editing. We visited Oslo, the knitting capital. Excuse me. This whole time, before I told you, I've been holding down hiccups. It's been one of my biggest symptoms. In the second trimester, I constantly have hiccups. So please do excuse me. But we visited Oslo in January for Robert's birthday, and I got lots of yarn and visited lots of knitting shops, even though it was his birthday. And I thought I would share that with you. So that will be my next video. I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful week and happy knitting.